We have a wooded corner lot in Texas with mature trees and utilities, and is only a mile from the first national preserve in the United States, which is home to one of the most biodiverse areas in the world. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel so you don't miss out on new videos. As we mentioned earlier, this property is only a mile from the first national preserve ever designated in the United States. It's called the Big Thicket National Preserve, and it protects over 113,000 acres of land and water spread over 7 counties in southeast Texas. These clips are from a National Park Service video about the history of the Big Thicket National Preserve. It's in the public domain. We're going to show you that later in the video. Biologists have identified up to 11 ecosystems in the Big Thicket area with a wide diversity of animals and over 1,300 known plant species. There are 313 miles of waterways in the Big Thicket National Preserve and 33 miles of hiking trails. In addition to hiking, you can camp, kayak, canoe, fish, and hunt in the Big Thicket National Preserve. And as we mentioned, this is the first national preserve in the United States. It was designated as a national preserve on October 11, 1974. The first national park is Yellowstone National Park, and that was designated as a national park on March 1, 1872. And Yellowstone wasn't just the first national park in the United States, it was the first national park in the entire world. This is the property right here. It's over 25,000 square feet, about 0.58 acres, so over half an acre. It's a corner lot. There's road frontage along the west and south boundaries. There's power, telecom, and water lines that run along the property. This is the plat map. It's actually made up of 4 individual lots, and it's only 1.1 miles by road to the Big Thicket National Preserve. If we go over here to the interactive map and zoom out just a little bit, you can see all of this purple shaded area. That is the Big Thicket National Preserve. And as we mentioned, this extends across 7 counties in southeast Texas. So all of this purple shaded area, again, that is the Big Thicket National Preserve, over 113,000 acres. And the property is also just over 30 miles from the second largest lake in the entire state of Texas. It's Lake Livingston. It's over 90,000 surface acres. Just east of the lake is the city of Livingston, population around 53,000. It's just a little over 30 minutes from the property. To the southwest, you have Cleveland, Texas, population around 8,000. Cleveland's also just over 30 minutes from the property. And when you're in Cleveland, you can hop on Interstate 69, and that will take you south into downtown Houston, Texas. And downtown Houston, Texas is only about 72 miles from the property. In just a minute here, we're going to show you that video on the full history of the Big Thicket National Preserve. We have this wooded corner lot with utilities just over a mile from the Big Thicket National Preserve, priced at $19,997. On our website, LANDiO.com, there's over 100 images of the property and the surrounding area. On the images, just click this expand icon and then hit this grid icon. Then you can see all of those images. Scroll down on the page, there's a lot of additional information. The property taxes are less than $40 a year. There's no HOA or HOA fees. We have a detailed property description with links where you can find more information about the nearby points of interest, along with the GPS coordinates and links where you can view those on a Google map. This is a property with a buy now option available. Just click that green buy now button. That will add a deposit of $499 to your cart. The $499 deposit is credited towards your purchase, and we cover all of the closing costs. There's no other commissions or fees, so your total purchase price for this property is just the $19,997. And again, that $499 deposit is credited towards your purchase. The remaining balance may be paid by wire transfer, cashier's check, ACH bank draft, credit card, debit card, cryptocurrency, precious metals, or any combination of these methods. We make the whole process super simple, and it can be completed in as little as a day. To place your deposit, click this green checkout button. This window appears where you enter all your contact information, click continue to payment, enter your payment information, and complete the checkout process. As soon as the checkout process has been completed, this buy now button will automatically turn gray and say out of stock. You'll then receive a confirmation email, and we'll follow up with the next steps. If you have any questions, click this contact us button and fill out that simple form. Now enjoy this 16-minute video on the history of the Big Thicket National Preserve. I personally found it fascinating, and it's our tax dollars that funds this. Might as well enjoy it. Thank you and God bless.
You've come to an unusual world, a world of unique diversity, a world that tells a story of how the land shaped people's lives and how people shaped the land. There are no deep gorges or high peaks here. The beauty is subtle. It's found in the tiny, delicate details nurtured in this timeless sanctuary. Finding these subtleties is a journey of exploration and discovery, a journey worth taking to discover the hidden world of Big Thicket. Your journey begins with a story of diversity. If you're from the Northeast, you might recognize the beech trees found in many northern forests. If you're from the Southwest, the prickly pear cactus might remind you of home. And those from the Southeast will recognize the American alligator, native to your semi-tropical swamps. Here in the Big Thicket, you'll find them all, and much more, living side by side, one of the few places in America where this occurs. The environment surrounding you is a microcosm of habitats from swamps, deserts, forests, and plains. What made this place so unique? What brought this diverse collection together in one place? The answer is ice. During the Ice Ages, glaciers moved across great portions of North America. The climatic changes they produced forced many species of plants and animals to move south. When the glaciers receded, many of the relocated species remained, adapting to their new home and creating one of the most diverse ecosystems in North America. For several thousand years, these impenetrable woods remained uninhabited. Prehistoric Indians, including the Attakapas and Caddo, were drawn by the abundance of plants and animals. They hunted and foraged here, but did not settle in the thicket. In the 16th century, Spanish conquistadors came to the area, but they too did not stay. Among the first settlers were the Coushatta Indians in the early 19th century, followed by the Alabama tribe. Both moved west to separate themselves from cultural and physical clashes with European settlers. The search for land drew many other settlers to the area in the early 1820s, mostly from the Appalachian region in the east. In the 1850s, the state of Texas granted lands to both the Alabama and Coushatta tribes. During the Civil War, the thicket became a haven for Texans who refused to fight. They moved deep into the thicket where they couldn't be found.
You could live out of the Big Thicket. You didn't have to go to the grocery store. You could live. It was your medicine, your general store, your pharmacy, whatever. It was there for you.
Well, there were many varieties of trees, including some giant cypress trees, some of them 2,000 years old. Cypress is a very durable wood and makes an excellent siding, and they also used it to make shingles for the roof. They used the fronds, the leaves from palmettos, to weave together to make baskets. And there were enough tough grasses that they could use them for cords, and vines could be used for ropes. Moss was another thing they used to stuff pillows and mattresses.
The local settlers made their chimneys with a mixture of mud and pine needles or grasses, and built a wooden crib structure and then packed it with mud to form the chimney.
Besides the resources to build homes, the thicket also provided settlers with other essentials, like food and even medicine. They learned that dental pain could be cured by chewing on the bark of the Hercules club tree. It was a natural anesthetic and became known as the toothache tree. Many early settlers had an important ally in the hunt for food: their dogs. These intelligent, well-trained animals were so important to survival, they spawned a nickname for some early settlers. They became known as the dog people.
Well, everybody had dogs, and they weren't just pets. They were very essential. They were used for protection and hunting. And they used all types of dogs. They used a small terrier type dog and sometimes a cur dog to hunt squirrel and coon. And squirrel and coon was a very stable food for us back in those days. And the cur dogs were used mostly for hog hunting and cow hunting. They were just essential.
The impact these early settlers had on the land was minimal. They took only what they needed to survive. But the thicket would soon change as others discovered its rich resources. After the Civil War, America's expansion depended heavily on lumber. By the late 1800s, small logging operations took advantage of tens of thousands of acres of virgin timber in the thicket. Narrow-gauge railways called trams were built, allowing the loggers deeper access into the woods. Sawmills sprang up, and logging became the area's first big industry. There was also a growing dependency on fossil fuels. In 1901, America's first large oil strike was made at Spindletop near Beaumont, then a tiny town at the southern edge of the Big Thicket. Thousands of jobs were created, greatly increasing the population in the area. Land was taken from the dog people, and dozens of small towns began springing up. The thicket would never be the same again.
The early 1900s, even the late 1800s, the advance of the railroads brought business and industry to this area. We began to exploit the resources. First it was timber, then in the early 1900s the oil and gas exploration began. One does not have to be an expert in either of those industries to see those impacts still on the landscape today.
With more homes and buildings in the area, wildfires were not allowed to burn, preventing natural processes that cleared the forest floor. This made the thicket even denser, which affected the habitats of many plants and animals. As the years passed, some began to recognize the damage being done to this unique environment. People like Lance Rozier, a self-taught botanist, R.E. Jackson, an early conservationist, and Senator Ralph Yarborough and Representative Charles Wilson, political supporters of the thicket, along with many concerned people, stepped forward and said, enough. Changes had to be made before the thicket was gone forever. In 1974, the thicket was designated the country's first national preserve.
The National Park Service has impacted the Big Thicket by providing a means by which the community, as well as visitors from other places, can actually see it.
What's that up?
Oh, that stuff hanging down, that's Spanish moss. It looks like an old man's beard, doesn't it?
Yeah. Looks like there's a dragonfly near.
Oh, you know what we call dragonflies?
What?
Mosquito hawks.
They can use boardwalks and trails. We've tried to incorporate some of the old logging tram roads because they were already disturbed areas to get people out, to give them an opportunity to see the Big Thicket.
The National Park Service has reintroduced fire to the preserve.
Allowing fire its role permits the plants that are fire dependent to exist. But without that, the lower slope plants would invade upslope in the absence of fire and shade out those species. So if you want to have the dynamic ecosystem, an ecosystem that is functioning properly and moving through time, then fire has to have that role.
These prescribed fires, monitored by trained personnel, are helping to restore the thicket to its natural appearance.
Timber today in the Park Service's land is much like I remember it as a kid. It just grows like it's naturally, like it's supposed to. You know, if a tree dies, it just falls down. The bug gets in it, it falls down. I think it's been a very positive impact on East Texas and the Big Thicket.
All visitors to the Big Thicket should visit at least one trail so that they can see the different plant communities that live side by side.
It's very easy when you're walking a trail in the Big Thicket to simply watch where you're walking and to avoid falling, to maybe occasionally glance around at the trees. To really see the Big Thicket, you have to stop walking. You have to watch what's going on around you. Give the animals a chance to come back out.
I would like for all visitors to the Big Thicket to come away with the knowledge that diversity is important and vital to a healthy system, whether that is a natural system or a cultural system. At the very least, I guess, a sense of seeing peaceful coexistence and perhaps applying that to our own lives.
Today, the preserve is a small remnant of the original thicket, protecting many key features that make this place special. The United Nations recognized this in 1981 when they named the area an International Biosphere Reserve. In 2001, bird lovers recognized it when the American Bird Conservancy designated it a globally important bird area.
What's attractive about the Big Thicket is the fact that it's peaceful, it's quiet, and it's remote. And it appears to be little changed. It's a constancy in a changing world.
I would like for every visitor to the Big Thicket to find their sense of wonder, to become a child and to use their senses of investigation, to become a scientist and to use all of their senses.
Well, when I go back there, it's the aroma of the Big Thicket, the smell of the bagels, the honeysuckles, the floral type plants in there. That's the part that always sets it off from anything else.
The sheer richness of it, the sheer volume of plants and animals in there is, it is actually, it's like no other place on earth. The Big Thicket's my home. Regardless of where I ever live, it will always be the place that birthed me.
The only people here in this portion right now are the ones that stuck around to the end. I want to thank you for doing that. I'm curious, prior to this video, had you ever heard of the Big Thicket National Preserve? If you will please leave a comment below this video on YouTube as to whether or not you've ever heard of the Big Thicket National Preserve prior to this video. And if you had heard of the Big Thicket National Preserve, have you ever been there? And if so, please share some information about your experience. If you found this video informative or entertaining, please support us by sharing this video and our YouTube channel with everyone that you know. The more people that we reach, the more land dreams we can make come true. Thank you and God bless.